everybody to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have on our show Robert Manni, and he's the author of The Guy's Guide to Love, and I'm so excited to have him here today because today we're talking about 5 ways to survive a first date. And ladies, I know you've been on a first date and you've been like, oh my God, this is like torture, or you're worried about going out on a first date. So he's going to give us some 5 great tips on how to survive a first date. But before we jump into it, Robert, tell our audience about you, because I know you're the author of The Guy's Guide to Love, and I know ladies are wondering about what this is.
Okay, well, I'm the author of The Guy's Guide to Love. It's a novel, and it takes place in the world of advertising where I come from. And it's really about 2 men competing for love, sex, power, and money in New York's advertising world. And it's got some fun characters and some great female characters in it. And it's kind of a male Sex and the City.
Exactly. And ladies, I will tell you, it's an awesome book. You should go get it. It's really, really good. It kept me, I couldn't stop reading it. And I didn't want it to end. But I didn't, really. But okay, so let's jump into this. How can a woman...
I'm working on the sequel.
Oh, well, good. Well, hurry up. Okay, well, let's jump into the topic of 5 ways to survive a first date. And Robert, I know you say the first way is, number 1, you only have one chance to make a first impression. And this sounds so obvious, but I can't tell you how many men and women don't get this concept. So can you elaborate on it?
Yeah, I think it's critical. You know, it's in life. You only get one chance to make a first impression. So what's more important to you than, there's your career and there's your family and then your health and dating. And so when you show up, you want to be on your best. And that means, clean up nicely and make sure that you're feeling good, that you take a moment to compose yourself, find yourself like being overly talkative, active listen, and make like you're going to meet somebody who could be a very important person in your life and could be a great friend as well as maybe something more than that. So show up and make sure that you're present.
Yeah, and I just want to say the first thing, and I know, ladies, this sounds so obvious because everyone's going, I know I need to look good and dress appropriately or whatever. But I swear to God, as a matchmaker, I can't tell you how many times a client has said, you know how she showed up? And it was such a turnoff because, like Robert said, you only have one chance to make a first impression. You only have 3 seconds where that person evaluates, what do I want to even see this person again? Or do I even want to really get to know this person? So really make an effort to make that first impression visually, because I will tell you, ladies, again, this sounds obvious. Men are very visual. If they are not physically attracted to you, it's not going to go any further. A man needs to be physically attracted, right, Robert? Robert's smiling.
It's sad but true. This is how we're wired. So, and I'm sure women are wired that to a certain extent also. But for guys, the woman shows up and she looks nice, he's going to pay attention right from the get-go. So, you want to be on your best, and you also want to leave if you're coming on a date, after work or whatever. You want to leave work behind, even if you have a tough day, and look at this as a fresh beginning and really start out at the beginning and don't have judgments, don't carry around your past relationships or any other issues that you may have. Show up and be present and be ready for some fun.
Great point. Okay, your second tip is don't show up late. Again, these sound obvious, but again, how many times have you and I heard this, right?
Well, showing up late is just a sign of either that you can't manage time, or you're disrespectful. And I was, okay, listen, the guy should be there first. For men, be there ahead of time. Get a good seat at the bar or a table, whatever, and make sure that you're there. So when your date shows up, that she knows that she's there. She doesn't have to go sit at the bar, order a drink for herself, start a tab, have creepy guys come up and start hitting on her. You want to make sure that you're there to welcome her. You're her escort for the next couple of hours, whatever. So don't be late. If you're a woman, it's okay to show up 15 minutes late because you want to make sure the guy's going to be there, and you want to give him, especially if you're in a big city, 15 minutes is nothing, but you want to make sure that you give him a chance to get there, get things set up to welcome you. And then you can get kind of a fresh idea as to how he's handling things by if he's there, if he set things up to make it comfortable for you. If you show up a half hour late and you don't call or text or whatever, that now you're getting into the area where it's a little bit rude. Regardless if you had a tough day or you had meetings that ran over, at least let the guy know, particularly if it's a first date. It's just a sign of showing respect for the other individual, whether you're a man or a woman.
That's a good point. But I would also add that I know you say it's okay to show up 15 minutes late, but I think as a common courtesy, women should text and say, I'm just running a few minutes late, and don't make the guy kind of sit there and wonder if he's getting stood up, because 15 minutes, a guy could start to wonder if he's getting stood up.
Yeah, but okay. I'm just like the New York thing with everything. It's like you always give a buffer of 15 minutes because of taxi traffic or subway delays or whatever, but I agree with you. If you're going to be 15 minutes late, let the guy know. I think if it's 10 minutes or 5 minutes, you don't have to do that, but 15 minutes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so your third tip is, and again, these sound obvious, but I can't tell you how many times I've heard this, but don't drink too much.
Yeah, well, you know what? Drinking is a fun sport, and what happens when a lot of people get together? They're a little bit nervous and they have a little bit of anxiety, and that if they do drink, that first drink can go down pretty quickly. And I always advise people limit your first date to 2 glasses of wine or 2 drinks tops, because you want to just keep yourself together, and we get a little too loose with the lips and everything else when we start drinking. I mean, that's part of it. Now, today's more millennial-driven culture, drinking is a group activity, and a lot of times there's a overindulgence and a little bit of a binge orientation. So you have to be careful when you meet up with somebody for the first time to be on your best behavior, make like it's an interview to a certain extent in terms of your behavior, and keep your mirror the other person. I would, if I met somebody and I knew they didn't, I'd offer them a drink. If they didn't drink, coffee or iced tea or club soda or whatever, and I would make sure to only have 1 drink and then maybe join them if they're having club soda or whatever, because not everybody indulges in alcohol. But the most important thing is don't get smashed and then just get sloppy. And I've been on dates where that's happened, and I was with one time a very beautiful woman, and she started pounding glasses of wine, and then she started sitting on my lap and making out. And, it was great, but I realized, you know what, she's crazy. And I went out with her one more time. I asked myself, should I do it or not? And I said, okay, once more. And she was just crazy. And that's why she didn't handle herself. And she got drunk on the first date. And it was just, no. You have to be able to keep it together, at least for a date or 2.
Well, and that's very true, and I've heard that complaint from men, is that when a woman gets drunk or even just tipsy, it's a huge turnoff because, number one, it shows she can't control herself, but number 2, like you started to say, it's just like, not that every woman's crazy that drinks too much, but that's not the type of woman that you want for a long-term relationship. You don't want the party girl that's always drinking and getting drunk on a date, right?
Yeah, most men don't want that. They like somebody to enjoy good times with, but they really don't want to date have a relationship with a real party girl, because she's partying with you. She could have that party mentality that everything goes and anything goes, and that's not always a good thing either.
Exactly. Okay, so your 4th tip is to have an exit strategy. I can't wait till you tell us about this one.
Well, for the first date, even if you're having a great time, I think it's a good idea to keep some type of time limit. I'd say 2 hours max. So you want to have some type of beverage, maybe meet up casually, have a beverage. If they don't drink, maybe you could meet at Starbucks or whatever. But it's better if you can go to a wine bar or something like that. And then if you're having a great time, maybe you have a second glass of wine and then maybe an appetizer. You go someplace else and you have an appetizer. And even if you're having a great time, I think it's best on that first date to say goodnight and save dessert for the second and third and fourth dates. And that's always served me well, because especially if you have a couple of drinks, then you're going to start talking too much. You're going to reveal too much, and it's better just to have a nice and good impression, really meet somebody the right way, have some fun, and then say goodnight and leave some anticipation and some mystery. And I think that goes for both men and women. that you want to leave something for the next date. You want to. It's like a TV show. A good TV show. At the end of the episode, you want to find out what happens next week.
Exactly. Yes, those 5-hour dates on a first date are not good.
Right. And
all right.
They can end up anywhere, and I've been there, and that's a whole nother issue.
Right, which almost leads us into your fifth tip, which is don't have sex with him. And again, these sound obvious, but I can't tell you, ladies, how many times I've heard that women make this mistake.
Now, everybody's different, so I don't like to paint the whole brush saying, like, never have sex on the first date, because it can work. And my point of view is when two adults are together, they know what's right. And it could be the first date, it could be the 10th date. It doesn't matter. It's when it's right. And you don't want to force it. But I find that for women, if they go to bed with the guy on the first date, the guy's going to go to bed. He's not going to say no. And then there's this cloud that hangs over a little bit. It's pressure on the woman. Is he ever going to call me again? The guy's going to think, I wonder if she does this all the time. She goes out on Match.com dates or whatever, and then she hops in the sack. Or was I special? I don't know. So it creates unnecessary anxiety and questions. Where if you don't have sex on the first date, you're not going to have those. You're not going to have those issues, and you can always have sex if you want on the second date, or the third date, or the fifth date, or whatever. But the point is, be careful on that first date. Keep it short and simple and sweet, and make the guy want to come back for more. After that, you can determine when it feels right in terms of sex.
Exactly. I completely agree, and these have been some amazing tips on a first date. So, Robert, tell our audience how they can find you.
Probably the best way is my website, robertmanni, manni.com. I do a weekly blog, so there's 240 blogs on there. My radio podcast is broadcast through there also. You can find out ways to buy the book. There's free excerpts to the book, and there's lots of videos on there.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Single and Stiletto Show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you would like to get the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. If you would like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. If you would like to get our free ebook on the 3 secrets guaranteed to attract any man, and that's based on scientific research, you can go to singleandstilettos.com, or you can click right here on the video.